Okay, well, I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's Thursday, January 21st, and the District Advisory Building Committee is meeting via Zoom. And we'll be taking attendance of the members. And if I miss your name by mistake, please let me know. Brad Post. You have to unmute yourself, guys.
Here.
Thanks, Brad. Jess Marino.
Here.
Paul Stevens.
Here.
Abigail Fuller. Matthew Lynch.
Here.
Counselor Ray.
Here.
And board member Aura Russell Better.
Here.
Hello. And board chair Emily Figdor.
Here.
Okay. And Jay Norris. Thought I saw Jay come on.
He is here.
Okay. All right. So we'll mark him present. And I don't believe I've missed anybody. Counselor Dion is on a 4-hour council finance meeting. So he apologizes for his absence. He didn't realize, I guess it was going to be a 4-hour meeting. But I told him we would certainly fill it in. We have a short, swift agenda this evening. So with that, I want to welcome as well. I don't know if we have people here yet from the Lyseth Building Level Advisory Committee.
Principal Williams is here with us. She's actually in as a panelist because she can also provide some additional insights into the Lyseth project when we get to that on the agenda.
Okay. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't maybe skip over that and come back to it in a few minutes to allow, I assume that the BLAC members all, oh, Jill Duson's there. My co-chair for the Lyseth.
Is Justin Costa still with us, Sarah?
He is not, Jay.
Okay.
Jill is my co-chair with the Lyseth Building Level Advisory Committee, so it's nice to see you, Jill. So I'm going to...
Counselor Duson. Is Counselor Duson here?
Yes, she is.
Oh, I'm going to have to... Hello. I'll expand my screen. Oh, it's lovely. Lovely to see you. Yay.
You look good.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you. We miss your smile.
Hi, Madam Co-Chair.
Well, I guess what we'll do is do the meeting minutes approval from our last meeting of December 17th. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Is this for the District Advisory?
This is for the District Advisory Building Committee, I'm sorry.
So I'll move that we approve this.
Okay.
Second.
That was you, Jay?
Matthew, but I second also, sure.
Okay. No, Matthew. It's a Counselor Ray, second by Winch. Do we have any errors or omissions on the meeting minutes?
None here.
Okay, great. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes for the District Advisory Building Committee for December 17th, if you just want to raise your hand, that would be great.
Hi.
All right. Beautiful. All right. So with that, I'm going to turn it over for the Lyseth update to Mark Lee from Harriman.
Very good. And I am going to, if we want to do the Lyseth one now, we've also posted this, and we'll make sure that there are links so that if there are members of the Lyseth community that haven't had a chance to see it, that they will make sure that we get a link out either with the minutes or on the web page for them to be able to see it. But let me see if I can bring up the right and
still trying to get in on my laptop instead of my phone. So if I waver in and out, that's what's going on.
So nice.
It's really beautiful.
There's the line.
Wow.
Nice.
Good job, guys.
Beautiful.
A lot of credit to on our end to produce that.
Pizza
Emily Waugh.
or salad?
Yeah.
Which one do you think I'm having for dinner tonight?
John.
It's not this.
Uh-oh. What was
There we
that?
go.
I don't know. But whoever's
I know
not talking,
I
if
know
you
what's
guys,
for dinner tonight, but
if everybody could mute yourself, or Anne, if you could mute everybody.
thank you very much, Emily Wadd, for all the production on that piece and bring everyone up to speed with where it is now. It's not complete entirely. So the project has completed the K wing, and now the next and last phase is the remainder of the corridors and a few remaining areas along the primary corridor that goes from the main lobby to the back of the building. So that's again anticipated to start when school is finished in the late spring, and to sort of get the last piece pulled together. So pretty exciting. We always get pretty jazzed whenever we get down to see the latest in construction progress. So hope you all enjoyed that. And like I said, we'll put a link up for the rest of the folks on the Lyseth community that haven't had a chance to see it yet.
Mark, we have Principal Williams with us,
We do.
and I'd like to give her an opportunity to unmute. You can unmute yourself, Principal.
And I
Good
also
evening, everyone.
want to let you know that I did post a link to the video on Board Docs as public content now. So anybody who goes to Board Docs can also access it there.
Great, thank you. Lenore?
Hello, Sarah. Hi, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And I know I speak for everybody when I say we're excited for the final phase of construction at Lyseth Elementary School. This will be our going into our third year of construction. It's been astounding. Yeah. Mark, I don't even know where to begin. I think it's probably better that you keep me muted. But I have to say, it's been an absolute pleasure to be working with the Harriman folks. They've been great collaborators, and truly have been there through all the hand holding and the hand wringing, the tears, the frustration. That's just me I'm talking about. But no, it's been an amazing experience, and I'm really pleased with what we have gained in terms of teaching and learning spaces. Just to fill everybody in on, basically the library and the gym are being fully utilized. The pre-K K wing we're waiting a few things, phones. We need to get our projectors installed, the short throw projectors, and to assure that we're fully on board with internet. There isn't a whole lot of urgency around moving into those classrooms because we have everybody comfortably situated in the middle of all this, with the cohorts. But as Mark said, the last phase will be our main corridor, and which will be gaining ELL classroom space, literacy support space, and we'll have 2 resource room settings for our 2 special educators. We currently have 1 resource room located in the pre-KK wing, and she is there because she was in our conference room and was very excited to be moving out of our conference room into her actual teaching space. So that's been exciting. Yeah, we've seen it all. It's been an experience. Temporary entrances and classrooms and cafeterias, but we are on the home stretch, and I couldn't be more delighted.
Well, glad that you're
kudos to Lenore and her staff for living through the renovation. It's not easy, especially in the middle of a pandemic. You guys have done it very well.
Thanks. It's really, I have to credit my staff. They have been incredibly resilient and just very understanding, and could see the end game. You had to keep our eye on the proverbial prize and just be thinking about what we were going to be gaining when this all came to fruition. So I'm really happy. I hope that you'll be able to actually see it soon. In person. The video was great, Mark, but I think it's really something when you walk into that gymnasium and you get the full expanse and the stage. It's just sort of, for those of us who's lived with a gym, a cafetorium for as long as I have, it's pretty great, pretty sweet.
Thank you, Lenore. And I think my co-chair, former counselor Dusan, wanted to say something, but I don't see her here now. I think she may have fallen off.
I'd like to just say something to Jay Norris. That was, in fact, the Lyseth leopard that you bequeathed us at the beginning of this process. You can see that he made it through construction. We found him, dusted him off, and put him back in the office. He's very happy on his perch.
I'm very proud to be a little bitty part of that. That's good to know.
I'm going to go to Chair Figdor, and then if Co-Chair Dusan comes back on, we'll let her on as well. Emily?
Sarah, she's in there, an attendee, just so you know.
Oh, can you switch her over, please?
I just did.
Okay, is she here now?
Should
okay.
In the...
Okay, Councilor Dusan?
I am here just marveling at the beautiful video and just teary-eyed. So thank you, everyone, for all your hard work.
Thank you for your hard work, too. Appreciate it. All right. Ms. Figdor?
Thank you so much. And it looks magnificent. It's really, it's to see the transformation is just awesome. I had a kind of practical question for Lenore, which is I'm wondering, are there any lessons learned for the 3 remaining schools in terms of your experience running the school through the construction process?
Well, yes, Emily. In fact, I met with the principal, Terry Young from Longfellow. He paid a visit and asked that very question of me. He said, I'm going to be living this soon. What words of advice do you have? And I said, oh, Terry. No, I actually said, that get used to the idea that deadlines are fluid and constantly changing, and that you have to just sort of be very resilient and flexible around that. You have to think about how the phasing of the project will unfold, and utilizing your existing space. Mark and Lisa, the folks at Harriman, obviously thought that plan out, but it was really tough to see it and to think that it could happen. You know, a perfect example is that was when they told me that we'd be creating a temporary entrance from the cafeteria while they were working on the main lobby. I just couldn't see it and didn't think it would work, and it did. We were able to get everybody in and there. So flexibility, and I think really preparing your staff and giving them information as it comes to you in real time, and also being sure that you give them the supports that they need, because it's a lot to pack up and unpack, and and to be told that you're now going to be working in a conference room, that you are in the food pantry for a while. So I mean that's the reality of it. You really are asking people to be incredibly flexible, and I am very, very fortunate to have a wonderful team at Lyseth, and everybody has been great. So those are the things, I guess, Emily, just that come to mind right away.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lenore. And I just want to recognize one of our Lyseth Building Level Advisory Committee members, Mark, and I'm probably not going to pronounce the last name correctly, but Arienti is also joined us this evening. So I wanted to recognize him. And going over to Matthew Winch. Matthew?
Thanks, Sarah. I just wanted to mention, through these building committee meetings, we get an opportunity, and probably don't say it enough, how much we appreciate the hard work of Harriman and their staff, but we never really had any interaction or connection with Deirdre Wadsworth or the folks at Hardy Pond. And I just wanted to suggest, maybe recommend, that the DABC and the BLAC send them some sort of a letter that sort of recognizes or acknowledges their part in this, because construction and renovation is challenging work. It does create headaches and heartaches for the folks that are occupying the building, and Lenore and her staff. But I just think it'd be a nice tip of the hat to them to recognize their hard work through this as well.
Great. Thank you, Matthew. That's a great idea. I'll talk to Mr. Stilfen and the superintendent about that. That's a great idea. Thank you. Any other questions at the moment on the Lyseth update? Okay, we're going to move on to the next item. Thank you, Lenore, for joining us. You can hang out with us if you'd like. Same with you. There she is, Jill. If you want to hang out with us, feel free. Okay, go ahead, Mark Lee.
Very good. Well, I'm going to ask my colleague Lisa Sawin to provide us an update on the owner's rep, clerk of the works, and where we are with that.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. Glad everyone was able to at least virtually join in the excitement at Lyseth. As Mark said, we really enjoyed watching that unfold, and are excited to see the next 3 schools come after that. As we prepare for the next 3 schools, working with Steve and Doug, they are soliciting or had solicited for an owner's rep, really to assist with the management from an owner's side on managing 3 projects in construction at the same time. So pretty much multiplying Lyseth times 3. And I know that Steve Steve and his staff have selected an owner's rep. And I don't know, Steve, if you want to give a little update on the organization that was selected.
Yes, we selected through interview process, RFQ format, CHA as our owner's representative for the upcoming 3 projects. CHA is their name. They were associated, or they're affiliate of PDT, who we're familiar with from the Portland architectural firm. This is their consulting affiliate and not their architectural affiliate. And we're negotiating with them in defining where the overlaps exist for clerk of the works structure, which will be a responsibility of report to Lisa and Mark and Harriman. And the owner's rep will be representing us in control of information, oversight, and review of the information on all 3 projects, integrating from our owner's perspective with the information as it flows to you as the DABC and school board and superintendent. So we are negotiating these areas of time slotting, what positions in CHA will be slotted for what overview, from budget review, how we manage change orders, submittals, where the approvals come from. The information is vetted between all of us in the management team, so we have a checks and balance of a report coming to the committees and to superintendent on schedule, on budgets, on recommendations for change, what we might see, what we might not see in value engineering processes. So this will augment and fill out our staff for having 4 concurrent construction projects going on this summer. Unprecedented for a school department in my history. So we are looking at the most effective, efficient, and time effective and cost effectiveness to have good project management from boots on the ground to presentation and vetting of all of the documentation and ins and outs for which will be occurring with 3 occupied schools being renovated at the same time. So I think you get a sense of, from Lenore's comments, exactly just what the baseline protections that we try to put in place to keep folks out of the pantry and exits and information flowing. So that's where we're at. And as the specifications in the construction CDs or the construction planning becomes more evident, it'll be easier to carve the negotiation to fit certainly our budget, but more importantly, the integration and communication of an effective project management structure for our next 3 schools. So the final negotiation we recommended to the superintendent and within our budget, and we'll have a really, really strong team to move these 3 projects forward and deal with the many things that come up. So that's all I can report to you now. Once I have a solidified proposal and cost, I will forward it to the superintendent for review.
Thank you, Steve. And we did have a great sort of introductory meeting with CHA on January 8th, really just kind of talking through logistics and collectively how we'd all work together as a team, and really focusing on communication and just trying to have it well oiled as a team, and going into the construction this summer. So we're excited to have the opportunity to have them as part of the team going forward here. At the same time, we are soliciting for clerk of the work position for the schools, and essentially that is the eyes and ears during construction on the site that will work directly with us, as well as assisting the owner's rep to be able to make any observations during the construction. So that is the update on owner's rep and clerk of the works.
Yeah, and I just would add a piece of what the clerk of the works functionality will do. We're already in pre-planning just for modulars to be in a position to be in contract for the mods that we're going to need for the 3 schools. That's ongoing right now. CHA is looking at a little of that. Lisa, Mark, and ourselves, Doug and I, are already contacted Scouty. We're putting those processes in place, but that will be a control point for which the owner's rep will be looking at, is just from the basics of how do we offload students, what's that going to look like in the phasing. So all of these conversations are not just waiting for a dollar amount. We're actually working through the information now and segregating and adding authority and responsibility into these areas, so we have clean communication and path of authority and responsibility. So,
excellent. Any questions on owner's representative or clerk of the work?
Seeing none, I would keep going.
Very good. And then regarding some design updates, we have largely looked at the exterior of the building to date. And so now we're starting to dig into the interior and finalizing the design concepts and detailing for that. And so the image here is Longfellow and the corridors for Longfellow. This is actually the second floor corridor. And what we're trying to do is largely hold intact the design, the original design of the building from the early 1950s, and picking materials that are easy to maintain, but that resemble or are characteristic of materials that were used in the original construction. And so this shows we've removed a lot of the items that are being stored right now in the hallways, and provided places for pinup for students. The floor tile is right now resembling colors that are original to the building, as well as the wainscot that was painted at one point in time on the wall, but the trim is still there, original trim, and so we're looking at replacing the protective wainscoting. Downstairs, it's glazed tile. Upstairs, it was linoleum, and so we're looking to upgrade it to a similar sheet product that goes against the wall to, again, protect the wall and give it some abuse resistance, and some updated lighting and the acoustic ceilings. And so, as we recall, the big areas of renovation in the corridors are the asbestos-containing materials in the ceilings and the flooring. And so when those go out, we'll be putting those in. But we really want a very light touch to the rest of the building. And so it should retain the character that it has now. Any questions on Longfellow?
I'll just add, Mark, I'm getting an echo, the design statement for Longfellow, because we're going to see it in a couple of the other slides here for the other schools. But really, one of the drivers in the community for this was really honoring the existing building. And the design statement was nurturing the roots of community to grow the hearts and minds of learners for a dynamic world. So we'll continue to kind of check in on that design statement and really the driver of that community forum, honoring the architectural time period of the existing building. So just wanted to recap that and tie us back to the original thought process from the community.
don't see any questions at this time. Go ahead, Mark.
And so the next image is the library for Reiki, and but instead of having short partitions, we're now starting to look at a lot of the classroom walls that are light colored in the background, and then coming in front of all those are the various small group rooms that are used for breakout spaces, as well as creating an infill around spaces that right now have the stairs. And so in behind where you can see bookcases here, we've actually filled in on top of where the current stairs are, so that the corridor circulation path can go around the, in this case, the small group room that has the 3 on it. And so it's utilizing that space more efficiently and allowing us to get more learning space in the building. And then there's a group room up above on the second level that's that we can see pushing forward. And so we're really excited that it's going to not only create an acoustically more effective environment, but it's actually going to have a really fun, playful landscape of colors and forms that are playing off of one another and really surrounding this central space. And so in a lot of ways, Reiki is an incredible building design, very unique in the open concept. Didn't work from an acoustic point of view, but the idea of having a central space where all of the rooms are gathered around it is a really great concept. It's actually used in a lot of school buildings, and so the idea of having the ability to do that here is pretty exciting. So we're pretty excited. It's been a lot of fun to move the direction and start to evolve the design to this point. And Lisa, I'll again provide an opportunity for some other comments in the design statement, maybe. Or
absolutely. So yeah, this is definitely exciting to see the transformation here, and I think the design statement really you start to see it in the collaboration space in the center of the library, as well as these group rooms, which are in the vibrant colors. And going back to the night where the community helped us craft the design statement for the school, it was to create an inclusive environment that celebrates diversity, fosters collaboration, embraces nature, and integrates into the urban fabric. So definitely starting to see parts and pieces of that coming through in the design, and we continue to refine that as we get further into the details.
Okay, we have a question from Chair Figdor.
Just a comment. It looks fabulous. And you have one Reiki student sitting with me now, and her mind is blown. And she said, well, I get to go to school when it looks like that. And she won't, but so many other kids will. It looks so good. It's very exciting.
Excellent. You can come back and visit anytime.
Okay, great.
And so our last preview is the proposed Presumpscot lobby, the main lobby. And so the idea, similar in some ways, we're taking some similar concepts that were successful in the transformation of Lyseth, but the idea of getting some natural light to open up the space as you first come into the building, having the administration presence located directly off of the lobby and the security vestibule. And so that's identified with the orange corner where the door into the main administration area is, having a place to land to really invite people to come and be within the space in the lobby, instead of it simply just being a space to pass through, but actually creating intentional areas to sit and congregate. And so this also starts to hint at where the new entrance, which has a tremendous amount of natural light coming in to it on the right-hand side. And if we were able to spin around and see the rest of it, we have the same cues with the colored areas that designate sort of areas of interest, and so we have the teachers' workroom on the, if we were to continue spinning right, behind where we're standing, there's the entrance into the rest of the classroom wings. So there's two areas that are identified going behind us into the classroom areas, and they have a very similar character to them as well. So the intent is to really create a nice vibrancy, warmth, bright, and inclusive environment. And in this one, Lisa can read it right from the wall.
So this one does provide us an incredible opportunity to showcase what we heard from the community. And so words like welcoming, I think the lobby definitely, with the natural light, the openness, the color, really starts to embrace that idea of a welcoming space for a diverse family. So I'll read the whole thing, and then we can kind of talk about some of the areas, not only here, but throughout the building, where, again, really starting to showcase, the design statement and the essence that we heard from the community. So at Presumpscot, we have a welcoming, diverse family, creating spaces for learners to grow, collaborate, and explore. And I love that last part, because you definitely feel like those kids are definitely exploring the space on the steps and having some fun in the rendering here. But creating different types of spaces for learners, whether it be collaborative spaces that they can kind of pull off in small groups here, or a variety of spaces throughout the school. And especially with pre-K through 5 schools, you have that opportunity to really be able to get creative in different types of spaces that speak to different age groups as well. And then with the color, definitely creating a really exciting space for the kids. And it also becomes a wayfinding, easy way to incorporate wayfinding for children. They can start to associate with colors and where things are in the building. So that is Presumpscot.
Great. Thank you.
Very good. So we'll move, I think, before we go to where we are in the schedule, just an update on the application process. And so the advertisements went out right before the holidays, about a week before the holidays, and we were curious to see what that would do in terms of the responses that we received. And they were due January 14th. And so on the 14th, last Thursday, a week ago, we collected all of the responses, and I think we'll share that list in a moment. And we've spent some time this week reviewing those qualification responses that we received, and we'll review those with Mr. Stilfen and his staff tomorrow morning at our regularly scheduled meeting. And then get word out to the applicants. And then from that, there's a period that they, if they're not considered as qualified to submit on bids on them, there's a period of time where they can appeal that. And so that appeal period ends on February 19th. And so we'll, and then as soon as that appeal period is done, then we'll begin advertising for the Longfellow project. And so that's kind of the process where we're at with that. So just about to conclude the first phase of the GC pre-qualification. They seem to trickle in at first, but as it is, I think, with most schoolwork too, we get a lot of them right at the not the 11th hour, a little after the 11th hour, but and so we ended up with 10 contractors that submitted. And so those are Sheridan Construction, they're in Portland and Fairfield, Great Falls Construction, and Great Falls is out of Gorham, Ledgewood Construction, that's out of South Portland, the Penobscot Company, and memory is not connecting on where Penobscot's out of, but PC Construction, that's out of South Portland, Structure Tone, that has a presence in the New Hampshire area, that comes up and does work in Maine as well. Hardy Pond Construction, which we know well from the work at Lyseth. Arthur Dudley, who's in Standish. Blaine Casey, and I'm not sure again where Blaine Casey is located, and then Benchmark Construction, which Benchmark is in the greater Portland area as well. So we have 10 contractors that are at this point. We have not made any determinations yet, but that's our pool of some submitted contractors, and so that's actually a good number that we're encouraged to see that response. Submitting qualifications for the 1, 2, or 3 of the school projects. Any questions on that?
Councilor Ray?
Yeah, forgive me if we've already talked about this in the past. I just can't remember. Is there anything in the process for selecting contractors? I'm sure you vet for their history, their track record, just because there had been issues at other schools in the past of having a problem and then going back and finding that the firm had dissolved, no longer existed because it was a temporary kind of LLC. So I was just, if you can quickly assuage my concerns there, that would be wonderful. Thanks.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think if I understand, Councilor Ray, the suggestion that some of the names here may have had prior existence as other construction companies that dissolved and created. Yeah, we have the questionnaire that we give them is pretty extensive in terms of number of years that they've been in existence. And there are questions regarding litigation on the questionnaire. So they're required to come forward if they've been involved in litigation and what was the result of that litigation. So I think those things hopefully assuage some of the concerns you may have.
Okay, Chair Figdor.
Yeah, it sounds like we're pleased with the fact that we got 10. I'm wondering in terms of these companies, is it just is it a group that just at knowing who I'm sure a lot of these players are that that we feel good about, and then can you remind me if in this process so far the companies have indicated if they're interested in one or more schools, and if so, how does that breakout look at this point?
Yeah, so I'll address the first one, and then I'll attempt to address as much as I know from the responses. A lot of them did not respond with sort of the number of schools that they may or may not be interested in. But with respect to the quality of the pool of contractors, I would suggest that there are several in there that are very qualified to do the work. There are some that we would favor or enjoy working with, and then there are others I'm sure that will require a little more effort or oversight. But I think that there are several very good that have lots of experience doing school projects. So that's kind of the first piece of that. With respect to the number, again, I think there were a few that may have indicated more than one, but that was a minority of them. I think majority, didn't express the number that they were potentially going to bid on. And I don't know if Lisa and Emily or Steve have anything different to add to that.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. They all kept it relatively vague to be able to be flexible. So they didn't explicitly say interested in 1, 2, or 3. Some would say more than one or multiple, but weren't outright saying how many. So we can look at as we're in the process of finalizing our review of those this evening, and so we'll kind of look through that one more time to make sure if any did or did not, but they've all that we've reviewed thus far have been relatively vague on the quantity.
Thank you so much.
I just would add too, as far as the quality of the contractors on the list in the questionnaire for pre-bid and qualification, the bar is high to disqualify. But where we look at low bid process here, what's really telling is when we go to the site visits, and the organizations, of course, people are in relationships and knowledge of those folks in those businesses come to the forefront, and you get a better understanding for their ability to, actually tackle the work, finish the work. Certainly there'll be problems, but pre-site visits, questions asked during that time frame, levels of reply to questions on capacity and labor force, relationships that Mark and Herman and Lisa have had up through the years with it. So the pre-qual gets us a financially stable view of these contractors. The site work, the bid process, will shake it down further to what we think we know about them when we get their bids.
Thank you, Steve. Paul Stevens?
Sure. I think Steve's right. It's hard to disqualify a contractor. You've got to have something pretty significant in order to be able to do that. So that's absolutely true as far as all these construction companies are concerned. I'm familiar with a good number of them, and I know that some of them are going to bid on the first project, and if they get it, they're done. There are others, I think the larger companies are going to bid on the first project, and if they get it, they're going to want to bid on the second project to make it a more efficient process for them. So I think that either one of those things can happen as we move forward with this bidding process.
Thank you, Paul. Any other questions at this time? Okay. Mark, you can.
Very good. Yes, thank you very much, everyone. So that brings us to next steps. As we discussed earlier, the first project right now scheduled for bid is the Longfellow. So that is anticipated to bid a little over a month from now. Bids are opened on March 25th, about a month after that. We are going through right now. In fact, earlier this week, we had a meeting with planning, and we have a date for a planning board public workshop and public hearing likely to follow right after. We will look at also the permitting, getting that underway as well as soon as we've got documents completed. And when bids come in, as we've said in the past, if our pricing is great, we'll award and go. If not, we'll look at value engineering efforts and then look to get the bid awarded mid-April or so, and then a groundbreaking shortly thereafter. I guess again, trying to look at the construction starting as soon as school is through in the late spring. And so that is the schedule for the first one, Longfellow. For Reiki, everything kind of shifts about a month, with the idea, though, that groundbreaking would occur likely around the same time. Again, we're trying to phase these so that they can all really start in earnest as soon as the schools are available in June. And then finally, Presumpscot, which pushes a little bit later, and that's intentionally. We kind of looked at the flexibility of being able to do that. And so that bid award, it happens a little bit later in June, but again, still currently around the conclusion of school. So those are kind of our mile markers right now to keep things moving along and keep us on task for that. Are there any questions on the schedules before we discuss our next meeting?
Can you, Mark, elaborate a little bit on that statement that you made about Presumpscot and the flexibility and why it's moved to the end?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I think, I don't know if everyone can recall, but when we talked about which projects would go first and which one would be the last one, we intentionally identified Presumpscot as being a little more flexible because swing space we're not, it's not as long of a construction project because of the fact that we aren't required to create a bunch of swing space and moving people around. On Longfellow and on Reiki, we have the modular classrooms where we're going to be moving people from the school into those, renovating a portion of the building and moving them back and moving new people out. And that creates, that's really the driving force behind a 30-month or so construction duration. On Presumpscot, we have the advantage that we're not doing a lot of work in the existing school. And so the new construction can happen without the need to shift students around the school and move them out of the way of construction and move people back in. So that gives us a little bit more of that flexibility to start the construction and let it go unencumbered by as much the school calendar. Okay, so right now we have on the schedule next Thursday our BLAC meetings, and so the cycle this time is Longfellow first, then Presumpscot, then Reiki, starting at 5:30, and again it'll be a good time to update everyone there on the progress. And then this group meets again on February 18th. Right now is our next scheduled meeting, which is the third Thursday of February.
Thank you, Mike.
And with that is what we have for everyone. As we said, it's kind of get everyone up to speed and where we are. As you saw, we're now in the design process of really getting into the interior details. So that's a pretty exciting area for us to be at this point. So the exteriors are well defined and being detailed, and right now we're getting into the interior. So a lot of fun, and we're buoyed by the results that we've all witnessed at Lyseth.
Great, thank you, Mark. And it's timely that Emily raised her hand, because I was going to ask her as well what the process was to replace board member Morioni for Longfellow. If we were bringing that to the appointments committee and where that was at this time, and then if whatever question you had, I'm sorry, thank you.
I can answer that. We need to put out the solicitation for members. That is, it's just a little bit behind schedule. We usually do that in January. We need to get that out so that we can then bring people that apply to the appointments committee for moving.
No, this is for the co-chair, Javier.
For the board member Thompson, at the board meeting on Tuesday, I made the announcement that board member Jeff Irish is going to be the co-chair of the Longfellow.
Okay, thank you.
Building Level Advisory Committee, and that is an appointment that I just make directly. So
okay. I thought that was an appointment. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
He's agreed to do that, and I think is really looking forward to joining all of us to see that project through. So. I will need to connect with him about the VLAC next week, and I'll do that. Okay. Thank you for helping to flag that for me. I have one not related question, if that's all right. I'm just wondering for the Reiki BLAC next week, I know that folks will be anxious to see and hear about any updates to the entrance. And so I'm just wondering if we'll be ready to do that at that meeting.
So I think, Emily, it's specifically around the design of the entrance and any modifications. Yeah, I think we can perhaps bring them up to speed with where the current thinking of it is, and the landscape and the entrance design itself and how the two work together.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions before we close out? Great. Well, everybody is here, so thank you everybody for being in attendance this evening, and also thank you very, very much to Harriman and to Principal Williams for the update on Lyseth. That is super exciting, and we look forward to seeing the others as we move along. So hope everyone has a great weekend. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Night.
Thank you.